Hello, my name is Ashley Wilson, and I work with an organization called Walk Bike Nashville, but I also work with any organization that takes me in. I go by at Walk Bike Nashville, the Community Engagement Coordinator, as well as the Bike Valet Coordinator and Volunteer Coordinator, but outside of that, I just say I'm a person. So far, I've worked with Black Mental Health Village. I've worked with Napier Kitchen Table. I've also worked with Recycle Reinvest. And I've worked with Network for Sustainable Solutions. Who else have I worked with? Goodness gracious. I've been having a good time just making connections. The North Nashville Arts Coalition. I've even gotten in touch with Mindful Nashville. Yeah, there's a lot of people there. Sorry. So the answer to that, the work that I have done with Walk Bike Nashville has been predominantly regarding making Nashville safer and more efficient for folks who do not have vehicles. Whether that be a bicyclist, your average pedestrian that's just walking across the street to go to a convenience store, or even, honestly, even another person in a vehicle. Like really the streets, the mission is that the street should be safe for everybody no matter what. So I do a lot of work with them in regard to pushing that narrative with people in communities as well as students in schools. And then outside of that, I do a lot of work with the organizations that I work with and what they do. So a lot of the times, I'm just helping people out. It could look like anything. That's what's so great about being able to be in that line of work. So that could mean a sidewalk being installed. That could mean what's called a pedestrian hybrid beacon, where there is a light above the street instead of on the side, so that the line of people that are driving, you're not looking on your side, you're looking at the top of the road. So to make that safer even for everybody, right? Another one would be, say, raised crosswalks. One of my favorites that we've done thus far on what's called a tactical urbanism level is a painted bulb out, which what that means is a curb extension. So there's an intersection that is in the Napier-Sudicum neighborhood that we painted the curb of the intersection out to make the road way more narrow, and in order to ultimately bring people to notice that the roadway is more narrow, so it slows them down, but then also, hey look, there's something pretty on the ground to look at. So it was a culmination of when it comes to making the streets safe, it is visibility, it is time, and it is awareness at the end of the day. I have always, what called me to this line of work and working with the community, I've always been a person that wanted to help people. As a child, I was always kind of helping my grandmother decorate for functions and stuff, and helping put groceries away. We did volunteer stuff. We did walks for Alzheimer's. As I got older, I was in a Gay Street Alliance in college, and I was the event coordinator for that, so helping them put events on. And then I got into the medical field, so again, helping people has just been a consistent thing. When it comes to Walk Bike Nashville work specifically, my first year in Nashville, I was in a hit and run car accident. I was the victim of it, I should say. And then last year, I was hit as a pedestrian crossing the street. And then also, I've been a person who's walked, who didn't have the ability to have a car, and didn't have money to ride the bus, didn't have money for any other alternative methods, and I didn't have a lot of friends. So just walking, and so the dangers that I've experienced in that, and also just how widespread Nashville really is. The mission of Walk Bike Nashville kind of called to me just in that, and then also as a kid I rode my bike a lot, so back home I should say, so it's just kind of a, why not? What challenges have I had to navigate throughout the journey of my career? Self-confidence. That's been the biggest one. Self-confidence, and also practice. So self-confidence to the extent of the job that I had the longest was with a court reporting firm, and a local court reporting firm, and I'll never forget when my boss said to me, I don't even remember how we got here, but the conversation was telling me that I was passed over the first time after I interviewed because I didn't sell myself enough. And so the only reason why I got the job was because the girl that they had hired just up and never showed back up one day. So they called me, and that's all she wrote. And had I sold myself better, if I had more confidence in myself at, was I like 22, I would have had that job from day one. So that was, I really appreciated my boss for having that level of transparency with me, and also belief in me, to tell me that, because he saw that I am worth more than what I sold myself to be at the beginning. And as I've gotten older, it's shown itself in other various ways, like negotiating for a salary, or even asking for more responsibilities when I was bored, or moving on to a position because I was upset and I didn't voice why I was upset. I just moved away in silence, not having the confidence to speak up about that. So like different ways of what that means. But then as far as practice, I feel like I am consistently inconsistent. And so at some point I'll be doing things, doing real well, and then I'll get distracted and I'll be doing something else. And I'll forget all about what I was doing. And I'll have to start back over when I remember it again. So a lot of that has happened. And I feel like this is the first time that I've chosen more of a consistency. And so things are really falling into place. No, has there been any moment that I've been just kind of like, I've had enough? Multiple times, actually. No, I went to school for medical administration, and then came to Nashville, worked in hospitality, and I was just like, nope, can't do that. Fell into a legal field and worked in that for 7 years, and I was just like, this place is awful. Fell into working for TennCare, and again, I was just like, this place is awful. And it's not that these places are awful, it's just that we have different alignments of values. And more often than not, I'm not willing to sacrifice my values for my place of employment once I realize there's a misalignment. And I mean, more often than not, that's been a way that I've protected myself in the long run. So a few organizations and corporate businesses that I've worked for, things went a little sideways afterwards. So there's that. But on a spiritual level right now, it's not that I want to give up on what I'm doing as much as it is taking the time to recenter and realign. And I've been even kind of daydreaming about a spreadsheet that is keeping track of all of the things that are happening or that I have going and all the plates that I have spinning, so that I have it visually instead of just all in my head. Even though I like to say that my head is just like a bunch of filing cabinets. But still, it can get a little papers flying everywhere, you know? So it's more of it's not so much giving up as much as it is, I need a pause, I need a break.
Absolutely.
When you feel it is off, it's usually off. So trusting yourself in that. So those are two separate things, right? And then make sure you read it. Just make sure you read it. Something fun that most people don't know about me would be I really enjoy architecture. I also was a nerd in that, and I loved playing The Sims growing up. So I would, more than actual gameplay, I would build houses. Like, I did grow up in SimCity when it first came out, but then when The Sims came out, I was like, oh my goodness, there's people that I can tell what to do, blah, blah, blah. But no, I would find myself just building houses more than anything. And my grandmother would take me to places where I'd get to see different houses and structures.
Grandma.
Yeah, right? I really enjoy, I went to St. Louis one year and we went to the Basilica. Oh my goodness. Beautiful structure, cathedral, Catholic church. But then I remember when I went to New York in high school and I got to go past the Trinity Church and I lost my mind. Even here in Nashville, when I've gone into the courthouses and any of the historical sites around town, like, I just really enjoy architecture. Went to Galveston, Texas back in 2020 and went on a ghost tour.
Like,
yeah.
Juneteenth, that was in?
Yes.
Wow.
And looking at the houses and the buildings down there, it was beautiful. I had a great time. Finally starting, or at least achieving, things that I had set out back in 2019, which would be going to massage therapy school and really leaning into being a Reiki practitioner. And then also maybe becoming an executive assistant. Like, those are the things that I am wanting to see. And I was even looking through some old journals this morning and I was like, yep, this tracks. So that's why I have the year of 2019, because that's when I wrote them down. Words of wisdom that I would want to say to any young person, honestly, is do what brings you joy. And if even what brings you joy is something that might be a little outlandish, focus on the practical skills in that, because those practical skills are things you can fall back on if something goes awry. And then also never think that anything that you want is too big. I know that sounds silly, and I make jokes that we were sold a lie that you can do whatever you wanted to do, be whatever you wanted to be, but that's not entirely true. You really can if you want to. At the end of the day, you really can if you